I want to welcome you to another episode of the Darin Sargent Show. I am your host, Darin Sargent, and this is the podcast where you get life advice from a single-handed perspective. Today, in this episode, you are in for a treat here on the podcast. I'm going to tell you why here in just a moment as we talk about, and this will make sense later, $3 and some change right here on the Darin Sargent Show. Thanks for joining. Let's get started. This past Friday night, my daughter, Ashton, my second child, got married to a wonderful young man by the name of Hunter. And so as a result of that wedding, we had a lot of family and friends in town, and one of the blessings of these type of events in life is you get family that gets to come in, and my parents are here and spend a couple days with us extra after the wedding. So good to have them here. You'll be hearing more in this episode and the next episode from my parents. In this episode, I'm just going to be talking to my dad about a very, very interesting, and I guess you could call it almost miraculous moment. It really was. It was a miraculous moment in the year 1987 when I graduated from high school and headed off to Bible college in Stockton, California, from the little podunk town, farming town of Kimberly, Idaho, right outside of Twin Falls is where we lived. In 1969, I was born. Now you're figuring out all my ages, or my age, because I've told you the year I graduated and the year I was born, so now you know how old I am. But in 1969, I was born in Pendleton, Oregon. My mom and dad were serving at a church there in Pendleton and had been there for about 3 years. I was born, lived there for about a year, and then we moved to where my mother was from, Salinas, California. Her family was all in that area. And then when I was 9 years of age, we moved to Kimberly, Idaho, right outside of Twin Falls, a farming community where beans, corn, and potatoes are available for all. It was a great place to grow up. But when I graduated from high school, we had a very unique moment that happened in our family. And my dad's going to kind of tell us a little bit about it. He has preached this message before, kind of bits and pieces of it, and I've asked him to share it with us for the podcast today. You're in for a treat. Dad, it's great to have you. Thanks for joining.
Hey, it is great to be here and to experience this wonderful experience that we've had this weekend with the marriage of our one of our 6 granddaughters, Ashton, and it was just an awesome time, a great wedding, and we are so thankful for our family.
Amen. Well, we're glad to have you here. I want you to take away, tell us about $3 and some change. This is interesting. If you don't, I've never heard this story, you're in for a treat. I'm going to let my dad take it away.
The year was 1987. It was the fall. We had loaded up all of Darin's belongings. Just prior to this, he had bought I think a 68 Volkswagen Bug that was, it definitely was not the most beautiful vehicle on the road, but it was a car. I looked at it and I said, this thing's never going to make it to Stockton, California. So a friend of ours just happened to be going down that way. So they said, you know what, we'll tow that down for you. So they left a couple days ahead of us. But we went to the service station to fill up our tank in our van.
Now, we were pulling something as well, right?
I was pulling a 1972 Toyota Land Cruiser that I'd bought for $600. I thought I might take it to California and make a few dollars. So I turned to my wife at the service station. I said, honey, did those checks come in from our business and all? And she had a blank look and said, nothing came in. And I thought, oh, no. And I checked my pockets. I had $3 and some change.
Now, this is long before credit cards.
Absolutely. And so I knew that Darin had spent some of his money on the car, but he had, I think, about $120. So I said, Darin, fill the tank up. And so we used his money to fill the tank up. We stopped by my parents on the way out of town, and upon leaving their home, my dad handed Darin a check. When we got in the van, the check was made out to the college, but it was $1,000.
Now, $1,000 back in 1987.
That was amazing amount of money.
Exactly. And it's probably a good thing it was made out to the college.
Absolutely. And so we rejoiced in that because it was definitely going to be a tremendous help. We made it down to Reno before we had to refuel. I said, Darin, fill the tank up. And so he did, and we made it on over the mountains to Stockton. Got into Stockton, my sister living there, had a barbecue, and several friends came in, and everybody seemed to just come in and begin to bless Darin with money. It just began to flow in, and we were just amazed. We left Stockton, went down to Salinas. Darin drove his Bug. I thought, well, maybe it could make it a couple 100 miles, and it did. And we continued to tow our Land Cruiser behind our van. And we went to my brother-in-law's business. He had a trucking business and a really great shop. And I thought we could maybe rebuild the engine there. And so upon examining everything, my brother-in-law told us to get in the pickup, and he took us downtown. And he ended up purchasing a brand new motor and transaxle for that Volkswagen. And he said, I want to give this to Darin for his graduation. And besides that, he had his mechanics put the engine and transmission in record time.
If you and I would have done it, we'd probably still be carrying around a box of extra parts.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We went to church there, and friends of ours had a body shop, and they looked at his car and said, you know, that car needs some help. If you buy the paint, we will do all the body work, and we will paint that for you. So
I remember I had some dents in it my senior year of high school, and I tried to Bondo and fix them myself. And some of them had been done. You taught me, or someone taught me, and I did a few of them, tried to sand it, but it was red and gray, and the red was all over the place,
faded.
Yeah, faded and bleached out, and so this was a major blessing.
When they got done with the car, it was absolutely first class. It was beautiful. It was a blue that Darin liked, and it was completely transformed. And I thought, well, maybe that car will survive the next 3 or 4 years. And it did. And then I took my Land Cruiser. I had a nephew that had a car lot. He says, oh, we can sell that for you quickly. So put it on his lot, and a couple hours later, this guy come driving up in my Land Cruiser. And my nephew said he wants to buy it for $3,000. And I just about fell over because I thought maybe $1,000 would be max. Nevertheless, we sold that and was blessed with that. But what I want to say is that out of that beginning, that humble beginning of $3 and some change, within just a little over a week, God had blessed us with over $5,000 of income that would prove to be very beneficial in the days to come for Darin. And and his schooling and all. So it pays. It definitely pays to be faithful and to serve God and just to expect the blessings that he rains upon his people daily. So I'm grateful and thankful. There's, of course, a lot of other little details along the way, but nevertheless, that is the story of $3 and some change.
It's just an amazing thing to me that God takes care of us. He's proven time and time again. And every single one that's listening to this, that you walk with the Lord. If you don't walk with the Lord, just listen to the story. But everyone that walks with the Lord has probably multiple stories that are similar to this one in your life, things that have happened and how God has taken care of you in these moments when you didn't think you had anything to really work with. God is able to multiply things in our lives and bless us in ways we never thought possible. I'm so glad you've tuned in today. I just wanted you to hear this. This is the Reader's Digest condensed version because it was over 30 years ago, and so some of the details are still kind of foggy in our brains, but I wanted you to hear how God supplied in the middle of almost nothing, and he took it and provided along the way. If today you're listening to this and you need God to do something for you, I'm hoping maybe faith just kind of rose up in your heart and God answers a prayer for you today. And just keep hanging on, because God's able to take $3 and some change and turn it into $5,000 before it's all said and done, in money and gifts and supplies. And it amazes me. It's one of those stories that I like to repeat and talk about often because God is so good to us. So glad and thankful you've joined us. Dad, it's been really good to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
It has been a blessing to be here, and what a journey life has been so far. Hopefully we've got more miles looking at us down the road, but serving God has, as the old song said, serving God is beautiful. And raising our family, it has just been an awesome journey. So God bless each one of you today and the days to come.
Thank you so much, Dad. I appreciate it. Till next time, right here on the Darin Sargent Show, the podcast that gives you life advice from a single-handed perspective. Stay tuned. We're going to be dropping another one at the end of the week that you're going to enjoy. Have a great day.